Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to this presentation. Today we're going to talk about countable nouns, uncountable nouns, and quantifiers. Don't worry if it doesn't make any sense at the moment. I'm going to discover what they are and how we use them and do some activities. So, first let's look at countable and uncountable nouns. Okay, so we can divide nouns into ones that are countable and ones that are uncountable. So countable nouns. Countable nouns are nouns that can be counted, things that can be counted. You can count the number of items that there are, you can count the number of the thing. So for example, apples. Say, there is one apple on the table. There are two apples on the table. There are three apples. There are four apples. There are some apples. Okay? So countable nouns can take the singular or the plural form of the verb. So, there is one apple. Or there are two apples. So is or are, because you can have singular, apple, or plural, apples. So there is one banana on the table. There are 6 bananas on the table. And it can be used with a or an, the, numbers, etc. So an apple, a strawberry, 5 pears, the peach. Uncountable nouns, obviously, are ones that can't be counted. So you can't count the number of items. For example, rice, milk, water, bread, meat. Because when we talk about these things, talk about them in general, yeah. So they're always in the singular form of the verb. You always say, there is bread on the table, not there are breads, or there are milks, or there are rices. No, we just have rice, milk, bread, meat, yeah. So always in the singular form, and the singular verb is always there is. Uncountable nouns can't be used with a or an, or numbers. So you can't say a rice or a honey or 3 salts. This is impossible. Okay, so first activity, I'm going to show you some pictures. I want you to select the countable nouns, okay? So the nouns that are countable. Okay, so off you go. You've got 3 minutes. So pause the video and then we'll look at the answers. Off you go. Okay, let's see the answers to those. So the countable nouns, the ones we can count, of course, are the apples, the bananas, the strawberries, and the watermelon. Because, of course, milk or salt or rice or pasta, we can't count. So here's some more countable, uncountable types of food. So, countable nouns, uncountable nouns, we can use the, yeah? The olive or the salt. But we can only use a or an with countable nouns. So an apple, a hot dog. My, your, his, her, our. Possessives we can use with both. That is my milk. That is my hot dog. And numbers can only use with countable ones because they're the ones we count. So, okay, so with uncountable nouns, so these ones on the right, the bread, meat, rice. If we're a bit more specific, we can use them in the plural, not the noun, but the thing how we refer to it. So, for example, 3 cups of coffee, 2 kilograms of sugar, 5 litres of milk, 6 glasses of water, 8 bowls of rice, 250 grams of pasta. So if we give like a measurement of weight, size, volume, we can talk about multiple items, uncountable nouns. Okay, let's look at some example sentences. We'd see if they're correct or incorrect. If they're incorrect, I need you to write the correct form. Okay, so here are the 5 sentences. You've got 5 minutes, so pause the screen, correct or incorrect. And if they're incorrect, write the correct form. So off you go. Okay, let's look at the answers to that activity. So we had, there are 4 glasses of water on the table. Perfect. We are having pasta for lunch. Remember, with uncountable, we can't use at or an. Again, this is incorrect. I would say there is milk in the fridge, or there are 5 bottles of milk, you could say. There are 4 pears and 6 oranges. Perfect. And I eat cereals for breakfast. Cereal, uncountable. So we have to say I eat cereal for breakfast. Okay, let's move on to quantifiers. So when we use quantifiers, we're expressing the amount or the degree of something, so the size of something. If it's big, small, like the number, the amount. Okay, so let's look at some quantifiers. So we've got a bit or a bit of, which means a small amount. A couple or a couple of, means 2. A few, again, means a small amount. And a lot of is a large amount. So, with countable nouns and uncountable nouns, a bit of, we can't use it. So we use this with uncountable ones. A bit of milk, a bit of sugar, a bit of cheese. A couple, because we're counting, there's 2, it can only be used with countable nouns. A couple of apples and a couple of bananas. A few, again, this can only be with countable nouns. For example, there are a few pears and a few tomatoes in the fruit bowl. And a lot of we can use with both. So we can say a lot of apples, say it in the plural, apples, and a lot of bread. So countable and uncountable. These quantifiers, we have any, some, many, and much. So any is sort of like whatever size. It could be big or small. Usually we only use it in questions or negative phrases. So, and we can use it with both countables and uncountable nouns. So for example, here in a question, is there any cheese? Which is uncountable. Are there any strawberries? So with are there, because it's strawberries, plural. Or in a negative phrase, I don't have any food. Food, uncountable. Some, which is a small to medium amount, can use it with both. I need some tomatoes and some milk. No problems there. Many is a large amount, and we use this with countables, okay? So for example, there are many different types of fruit. Types are the things we're counting. Types of fruit, countable. There are many different types of fruit in Colombia. And much also means a large amount. Again, we usually only use it in questions and negative phrases. This is the most common. If we're talking in a positive sense, it's more common to say a lot of. Yeah? So we'd say, how much cheese do you need? Do you need much milk for this recipe? Or I don't have much bread. If it was positive, we'd say I have a lot of bread. This is more common. Okay, the final activity, guys, we're going to practice quantifiers, okay? So we're going to read a conversation about a recipe for some food. You want to fill in the gaps using these quantifiers. Use each one once, apart from a few. You can use twice, okay? So we've got much, a bit of, many, a few, a couple of, some, any, and a lot of. Here's the conversation and the gaps. You've got 10 minutes. Pause the screen. Off you go. Okay, let's look at the solutions there to those quantifiers. So we have, for this recipe, I need a couple of onions, a few carrots. These you could swap round. You could say a few onions, a couple of carrots. Some olive oil, but olive oil is uncountable. So we couldn't say a few olive oil, no. Some olive oil and a lot of cheese. Remember, a lot of we can use with countable and uncountable. How many carrots do you need? Carrots, countable. How many carrots do you need? I need 3. Is there much salt in this recipe? Salt, uncountable, therefore we use much. No, only a bit of salt. A bit of, uncountable. We use with uncountables. Do you need any tomatoes? Yes, just a few. So there we can use a few for the second time. Okay, great. Well, great work, guys, on the presentation, on the activities. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye bye.